All right, in this portion, we're going to take a look at the ad sets. So in the easiest meta ads for final expense telesales, we're just going to be focusing on a few core fundamental aspects in this section of the course. There's a lot you can get lost in, but I really want you guys to focus on the simplicity of setting up the ad set. So as you can see, we're going to go over naming your ad set, just trying to stay organized. We're going to talk about selecting the page to promote. So we've already set up our page, right? Example insurance as an example for us today. We're going to talk about targeting the right audience. And in the downloads, you guys should be downloading the resources for this slide specifically. And this is going to be your customer avatar. So we're going to take a look at, targeting the right audience with that customer avatar. We're going to talk a little bit about choosing placements, okay, and what that means. We're going to talk a little bit about budget and how you can set spending limits daily, weekly, and choose when you want your ads to run. So let's hop right over. Okay, so now we're in the ad set portion, and if you guys clicked next from the previous page, that's where we set up the campaign, right? So once you click next, you'll pop right over to ad sets, and we're gonna look at setting up the ad set the correct way, the most simplest way, okay? The easiest meta ads for final expense telesales way, right? So some of this is already filled out, but don't worry, I'm going to go over everything step by step and how I got to what I got. Okay, feel free to pause it if you guys have questions. And again, make sure you download that customer avatar. Make sure you guys download that ABC playbook, okay? Because it's going to give you guys a direct breakdown of exactly what your ad set needs to look like, minus all your tweaks and personality and uniqueness, right? So the first thing we're going to look at is the ad set name. I name mine Smoker Type 2 Couponing, and I'm going to show you guys how I got to that. Okay, down here we're going to take a look at conversion. This is where you want to convert your leads, right? So we're going to use instant forms. Okay, so you can generate leads through your website if you wanted to, if you have a website and maybe you have a quoter, right? Maybe you have an active quoter on that website and you want to drive traffic to that. You choose website. Maybe you want to have leads interact with you on Messenger or generate a call in. Hey, maybe you want to generate a call in, right? So that's probably going to be another course, honestly. Something that we're just kind of messing around with is generating some call ins, and I'll tell you, man, there's really not much higher intent than generating a call in. So right now we're just going to be focused on the very easiest way to start cutting our acquisition costs. We're going to start with instant forms. Generate leads by asking people to fill out a form. Okay, the next thing I want you guys to look at and make sure you're not overlooking is the Facebook page. Make sure you guys choose the right page here. Okay, make sure it's the page that we created, and then make sure that we are accepting meta lead ads terms for that specific page. Now if I click over to this link, it should open up where I would need to accept it, okay, and then make sure you do that. Now I'm also including that exact link in the playbook as well, okay. So the next thing down here is the dynamic creative. I typically leave that off. Optimization and delivery. We're just going to optimize for leads. I put a little joke in there. It wouldn't hurt to just put $4, right? You guys don't have to fill this out. You can literally just leave this $0 or blank. It's optional. Now if you click show more options, you can toggle or mess around like when you want to get charged or the delivery types and stuff. I just leave that set as it is. The daily budget, I wouldn't start with any less than 20 bucks a day. Okay, I know some of you guys are going to want to throw a lot of money towards it, and it's not about being cheap, or it's not about who's throwing the most money to these ads, right? But it's about finding a winning ad set, finding the winning ad, right? So once we find that ad, then we're going to start dumping a little bit more money into it. Okay, so right now I got about $20 a day. I'm getting leads from anywhere from $3 to $5 with this particular ad set at the current moment. So yeah, I could bump this up to 50 to maybe 80 a day, but keep in mind as well, guys, you don't want to flood your pipeline with new leads, and maybe you're getting 20 leads a day, right? But are you really going to be able to contact all 20 every single day for a week straight? I mean, soon you're gonna have 100 leads. You're gonna be having meaningful conversations. Those conversations should be lasting an hour or longer. Okay, with these final expense leads, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, right? But to full cycle it and one call close these deals. Okay, so keep that daily budget at 20 bucks. If you want to, you can even click this drop down and maybe set a lifetime budget once you find that winning ad. Okay, so schedule, pretty self-explanatory. Your start date's going to be today, basically whenever it gets approved. And if you wanted to, you can also set an end date. I never do. So again, what I do is just toggle my campaign on or off as needed, instead of having an end date, forgetting that I had an end date, and my leads are just humming, right? They're just coming right along, and I'm writing deals left and right. One day, hey, you don't get any more leads, right? And you're thinking, what the heck happened? Maybe Facebook did something to my campaign. But no, in fact, you set an end date and you just forgot about it. It's a pain in the butt. So just leave it blank. Okay, so down here, this is going to be the audience, right? So this is kind of the bread and butter, or what people like to call, the secret sauce. Who do I target? Look, guys, I've been doing this for a very long time, and there's really no right or wrong way to do it. The best way to do it is to use your mind, and next time you talk to an interested prospect, this is going to allow you to use the questions that you ask in the scripting, right? And making sure those questions are very good identifying questions and open-ended questions. The more you learn about your prospects, the better the marketing becomes. The better the marketing becomes, the more sales you make, right? You see how it's a synergetic process? You see how just everything just flows together, right? So there are a couple of things that I can give you here, right, that are just maybe common sense, but sometimes it can go over your head, like over my head in particular, because I was doing things in the beginning, like just running my ads in the United States. And hey, I'm not licensed in all 50. I'm licensed about 20, but that's something that you need to know. So let's go over that right now. Locations, okay? Locations. Make sure you're only running ads in the states you are licensed in, okay? Don't run ads in states you're not licensed in and then get a lead, sell it, and then place an order in NIPR or Circon for your license. Don't do that, guys. You're gonna be upset with the result, I promise you. So just go ahead and head over to NIPR or Circon if you need to grab some states. Also, another quick tip on locations: we need at least six non-residential states. Okay, there's a ton of different states out there. You know what? I'll go ahead and give you a couple right now: Ohio, Virginia, okay, South Carolina. These are states that are very inexpensive to grab, and everybody should have them. But you have to have a minimum of at least 6 non-residential state license to run these ads in, so that they're not competing against each other. When your ads compete against each other, what that means is it's running ads to the same group of people. Boom, boom, boom. They're just constantly seeing the same ads. So you'll have ads competing against each other in small spaces. Okay, so again, grab 6 non-residential state licenses. If you have more, great, right? The more the better. You can probably even lower the lead cost with more states, because your ads won't be competing against each other. Remember that, okay? Ages, right? So ages, we're looking at from 50 to 65 plus. Why? Well, I have carriers that, like Liberty Bankers Mutual of Omaha, I could write a whole life application from zero to 85, right? Typically, I'm not gonna market for 0 to 65 unless I'm doing a traditional life product, right? Term, IUL, GUL, something like that. So you guys can test and do different ad copy and stuff like that. Man, I got a treat for you guys. I got a freaking treat for you guys who stick around to the very end of this course and advanced tips and tricks. I'm gonna show you guys how you can essentially replicate success from many different ads, from IULs to annuities to anything you guys can imagine. Okay, so back to it, guys. Ages from 50 to 65 plus, because that's what my market entails of. Genders, all gender. Now, I will say this: you can actually go in, and once you get some analytics, once you get some data on these ads, you can run tests against different variables such as gender. You can do maybe an ad set that targets just male, and then also run one side by side to it with just female and see how the two do against each other. Maybe it'll lower your lead costs, right? So I just want you guys to start getting a little bit more creative. Like, I'm going to give you the blueprint, right? But ultimately it's up to us. to add the creativity. And that's the thing, is we don't want everybody doing the same stuff, right? We want to expand. We want to expand the knowledge, to expand the market and show different things, right? So let's look at some detailed targeting. So these are people who include what, right? Add more targeting details here. This will expand our audience and include more people, right? So over here on the right, you can see audience definition. Your audience selection is fairly broad, it's telling us. And if it's too specific, we won't get the results that we want. You kind of want to be in this green for the most part. If you know what you're doing, you can make it very specific. If you're targeting, you can target people whose first names start with A and born in August, right? Or maybe people whose last names is Patton, for instance. So that's kind of when you want to be specific. But for our case, we just want to be right here in the green. So let's take a look at some of these detailed targeting metrics that I'm adding, and I'll explain why in a second. So one interest I have is Abbott Laboratories. Abbott. What does Abbott do? Well, they focus mainly on nutrition and endocrinology, right? So endocrinology is another interest that I might be able to add here. Let's see if it pops up. We can just type in endo, right? And Abbott Lab. So the reason why I chose Abbott Laboratories, if you guys can guess, is because historically, right? And I have many data points that majority of people I talk to are pre-diabetic, sorry, or type 2 diabetic, right? The final expense market traditionally is most people are going to be type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic at some point in their life. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? So I'm using that as leverage to make sure that I'm targeting the right people, okay? Alan Carr, right? So I use this book to quit smoking cigarettes. Very specific, okay? So as I read the book, it allowed me to change the way I viewed nicotine addiction, right? And Alan Carr, he's great. If you guys have any cigarette addiction, alcohol addiction, anything like that, his books help tremendously. Okay, I just want to throw that out there. But I chose Alan Carr because most people I speak to are smokers, right? And the ones that are smokers, I have a story that I can tell those clients, right? So as I'm speaking about Alan Carr, that could be one of the commonalities that I bring up in my pitch. Hey, do you use any nicotine and tobacco within the past 12 months? No, I don't. Or maybe, yes, I do. Oh, man, that's crazy. You got to check out this book Alan Carr I read, And, I mean, look, we targeted for it, right? But we'll act surprised. Oh, Alan Carr, yeah, I definitely heard of that before. I've even sent my prospects the Alan Carr book who smoke and then follow up with them in 12 months as a nurture campaign, right? So before I get carried away on a tangent there, Candy Crush Saga, right? What does everyone's grandparents do? They play games, right, on their phones. So Candy Crush Saga is a big one. Soda Saga is a big one. The Words game is a big one. I target those because they're typically on their phones late at night with their reading glasses on, having a little bit of fun on the phone, okay? Compression garment. This is stuff that treats typically neuropathy and diabetics, right? So compression garment, we have CSI franchise, right? So I'm just thinking outside of the box. So what do they like to watch? What do they like to do? A lot of them like to watch House or some kind of medical franchise, CSI, crime investigating. Tobacco pipe, discount stores. So this is a mindset thing, right? Discount stores, couponing, right? So now you guys can see, if we scroll back up, why I name my ad set Smoker Type 2 Couponing, okay? Just to kind of tie it all together, right? So again, get really creative with this. You can go even deeper into demographics, interests, and behaviors, okay? You can target specific languages if you want. You can even target connections, but we won't be using this. We're gonna leave that the same. Languages, you can just hone in on the English language if you guys are getting a lot of Spanish speaking as well. So placements here, I do want to put an emphasis on placements. So we're gonna check manual placements. Okay, use manual placements, and what I want you to do is make sure Facebook is engaged here, and we're not gonna check audience network, and we're not gonna check Instagram. Okay, this is the easiest meta ads for final expense telesales, right? I'm gonna take Facebook feed, we're gonna check that. Everything else is gonna be unchecked other than video feeds. Okay, Facebook stories and these down here, search, Facebook results, in article, instant article. Again, guys, don't worry, all of this is laid out in the ABC playbook. Okay, all of this, it's gonna give you the step by step. All right, so make sure you guys download that customer avatar, and let's get it into the next part of the video.